Claudia. I am the mother of Oliver, who is a shaken baby syndrome survivor.
What do you see? I see very smushy grass.
The day kind of started with Oliver's dad waking me up, and Oliver was unresponsive. So we raced to the hospital. They thought it was BRU, which is brief, resolved, unexplained situation basically, and to go home and monitor. About 24 hours later, I was woken up again by Oliver's dad saying it was happening again. They raced him to the hospital where they found out he was actually having seizures due to a bleed in his brain. With that, they ended up doing a trauma workup to see what was all going on with him, and he had fractured ribs, fractured thigh bones, bleeding behind his eyes, and the bleed in his brain, which was causing those seizures, which is a direct relation to shaken baby syndrome.
You just won't open your eye for me again? You're blinking still. But no eyeball. Hello.
They called the authorities and had them both interview both of us. I went first, and they sent me back upstairs, did Dad, and then Dad just didn't come back upstairs, and they told me that Dad had admitted to doing it, and he was arrested. And yeah, I ended up losing my partner of 5 years. We were engaged and planning our wedding together, put that on pause because we had the unplanned pregnancy, but it was very accepted. We were both really excited about it. And I think it was just a matter of crack of pressure, and that it happened in our household itself. I actually always comment on, we had conversations about how does that happen to people? How does shaken baby happen in households? How could you do that to your own child, you know? And then to have it happen to our household itself was just unbelievable. So lost my partner, almost lost my child, and everything had shifted in a matter of minutes.
Go get there. Baby steps. Oliver steps.
We got into the hospital. He was there for 2 weeks. He ended up being in the NICU for about a week. He was sedated because he was on really high seizure medications, which make you very drowsy. So Ollie was sedated for about a week. Then as the seizures lessened, they lessened the meds, which means he started to wake up. We ended up having to stay another week in the hospital though, because as a baby that young, when you stop using muscles, you stop having the strength to do so. And so we needed to reteach him how to eat out of a bottle, basically. And so that took about a week, where he was in a feeding tube trying to just relearn how to function. So really, it was just scary because he was on an oxygen machine and he had the feeding tube in him, and he wasn't responsive, obviously. But otherwise, I think we were probably one of the luckiest families that this could have happened to. There's the opposite is death. He could have died, and he could be not walking right now. He could be not talking right now. And he's got friends, and he's got favorites. He loves Paw Patrol, and he's just perfect, And you could look at him and not even know this had happened to him. And that's why I think I'm the luckiest one that I've even encountered that's had shaken baby syndrome happen to. But I think people, especially new parents or caregivers or anything, need to be more patient with themselves and ask for help and communicate and talk about these things. Every aspect of the experience of raising a little child, vocalize it. Say you're frustrated with them. Say you're frustrated with how this is going, I know Ollie's dad had Google chats. The detectives looked into stuff, and they looked and saw the Google chats, and he said, why am I not connecting with my baby as much as I feel like I should at 4 weeks, or stuff like that. Well, why aren't you voicing that to people who can actually have a conversation with you about it, who can maybe help you with it and do stuff about that?
Today, I have the privilege of having Crystal McNally here to testify. Crystal and her husband, Brendan McNally, are the founders of Never Shake Minnesota, and co-chair, Chair West, I would move to testimony.
Thank you. Ms. McNally, please proceed. Introduce yourself for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Crystal McNally, and I'm here today on behalf of Never Shake Minnesota in support of HF 4384, a bill that would strengthen education on abusive head trauma, also known as shaken baby syndrome.
I'm Timothy Johnson. I'm one of the original members of the Never Shake Board of Directors. Crystal and Brendan were kind enough to ask my partner Julie and I to be on the board because we were with them for a lot of their journey early on, and are so happy to be on the board. So early on, I think Crystal and Brendan and Julie and I really thought that the original mission was to help people solely. We would raise money, we would give money to victims to help them get back on their feet, you know, with rent, with car payments, whatever it might be. And then as this has evolved over the past 2.5 years, we came to realize that helping people learn and know about shaken baby syndrome, know about abuse to children, traumatic brain injury, is something that we needed to do a lot more education about. And so the education part is the second major tenet, I think, of Never Shake Minnesota, and it's something that we will continue to do for the years to come. Because once the word is out, once people understand what shaken baby syndrome is, once they understand how that can lead to traumatic brain injuries or even death, that's when people can take that second to breathe, to count to 10, to not engage in that act. And if we can affect even just one family, if we can affect 5 families, we don't have to impact millions of people, but even saving one life, even keeping one child from having traumatic brain syndrome, we will have done our job.
And then talk about your journey as well.
Yeah, so Never Shake Minnesota was born out of the need. My son is a survivor, and so when my husband and I went through this, there was no one to reach out to. There was no one who understood our journey like in that first kind of person. Yeah. And so what we do is we reach out to victims that are in the hospital. We provide support to them.
Babies cry, and that's normal. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to step away. Never shake a baby. Shaking can kill, and 1 in 4 don't survive. Survivors often face permanent brain damage. Learn more and give today at nevershakemn.com.
It's a true thing, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't ever shake a baby, buddy.
No, don't do that. You have to watch a video before you leave the hospital.
I think my favorite part about Never Shake is that we're all volunteers. We are a mean, lean machine when it comes to being a nonprofit organization, and that it's almost, and I don't have the exact numbers, but almost every cent, every dollar that we bring in goes back out to victims or goes back out to our educational awareness programs.
This nonprofit is one thing that really helped restore my faith in humanity. I had received 2 donations from them that helped get us back on our feet. We actually would not have our apartment without this help to restart. You know, it doesn't cost nothing to restart, as well as having just, I feel like, someone who understood it on a deeper level, as well as was able to support on that deeper level. Even my therapist, I did a lot of therapy. They don't know exactly what's going on. There's no shaken baby syndrome therapist, you know, like, sure, child abuse and stuff, but it's such a finite, specific situation that it was so beautiful to have it dropped off to me first thing in the hospital. I was so overwhelmed. They were calling me to talk with CPS, they were calling me to talk with other authorities, the police, and all of these things, and then to just receive this little gift bag saying, call them, they'll help you, they'll talk to you. And then when you picked up that phone and you were just like kind and soft and gentle, and it was just enough to make me want to try again the next day.